Marcus, how are you?
How are you, Clinton? You have to...
Yes, Clinton, welcome.
Yes.
Ahí está. There you are. Thank you very much for having us, Clinton.
It's a pleasure.
It's an honor for us. Bueno, ahí lo ven, nos estamos saludando con Clinton. Así que bienvenido. Había mucha gente que lo estaba esperando. There was a lot of people waiting for you in this live session. Here is Marcos and Mighty Roots.
Okay, cool. Put this.
You have to fix it. That cam.
Yeah, we are fixing it.
Le dije que le tenía que arreglar a la cámara como el último single que sacó, que está buenísimo. Ahí nos estamos acá.
Eso, ahí, entremos ahí.
Un poquito.
Marco, vamos con esa pregunta.
Vamos con eso. Ya hay saludos de un montón de gente. Ahí lo tenemos bárbaro. It's okay there.
Yeah.
It's okay there. Let's talk about the new single, Fix It.
Yeah.
What can you say about this? You recorded in your house. How was the process?
No, well, it's recorded at a studio. At the studio that I usually work out of.
Okay.
You know, but the inspiration came from all what's going on. You know, with the pandemic, the politics, the injustices, police brutality, the lack of paying attention to the environment. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things compiled together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's the inspiration, you know. And of course it developed a huge crisis which need to be fixed.
Yes, please. Bueno, le preguntaba sobre su nuevo single, Fix It, cómo se había grabado. Dijo que se grabó en el estudio que él siempre trabaja. Él vive en Estados Unidos, que está todo abierto, y que se inspiró obviamente en este problema que tenemos con el COVID en todo el mundo, y pide con su cantar que lo arreglen, que lo arreglemos.
Clinton,
Yes.
how are you living these days previous to the election time? I heard that yesterday a big riot because another police brutality action happened. Another person was killed by the police. How are you living this moment? Is a lot of tension, political tension, social crisis going on in Seattle, Washington?
Well, yes, here, but anywhere there is a hot spot, you know, it's a little more intense than exactly where it's happening. You know, not too long ago it was happening in Seattle here, and yes, it was intense and stressful in the same breath and so forth. But that energy kind of shift to Portland and to different places and things like that. But it's the same country. You know what I mean? It's like if your leg is hurting, you know what? Your head is gonna feel it. And if your arm is hurting, you know, the rest of the body feel it same way. You know what I mean? So you know, it's not a pleasant situation right now. You know, it just kind of shows that what I learned from all this is that more like politicians are more focused on politics, on their business, the business of politics, rather than the safety of people and our environment. You know, that people and environment comes last. You know what I mean? And you're supposed to be first if there's a first there, then people should be first. You know what I mean? And where to live is right there with it. You know what I mean? How you live, how you know, your environment, medicine, etc., etc. You know what I mean? But that seemed to take last place. You know, we look more so on the stock market, how well that is doing. Oh, 5 million can die. How is the stock market? Oh, doing well. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And people are not being taken care of accordingly. You know, and the hard part about it, you know, when you vote for a president or a prime minister to take care of the country or the neighborhood, you know what I mean? That's kind of what you expect. That's why you vote, right? Okay, but then they use that power just for themselves and their little surrounding and things like that, and the people get left out same way. And that's been going on for a long time. You know, you're just hoping that by now, you know what I mean, those situations would change.
Yeah. Do you think that social media plays a negative role on dividing the people with the fake news and all this discussion going on? How do you feel? I mean, social media is good because we can connect, right? Like now.
Exactly.
But what are your feelings on social media overall?
I think overall, I think there's two sides. There's a good side and there's the bad side. You know, the bad side is when you take influence from somebody who is just self-centered, or a set of people who are just self-centered, you know what I mean? And you take bribe or whatever it is just to put out a little piece of information that's not properly done or incorrect, and you put that out anyway because for ratings and for who knows, and for money too, you know. The other side is like, you know, everything is out there. So, you know, people can make them choices. But sometimes there's too much out there to sift through to find where the truth is. You know what I mean? You sometimes it's hard to find where the truth is because there's so much information and so much misleading information.
Yes. Mighty, traduzcamos un poquito porque...
Sí, I'm going to translate a little for the people.
Okay.
Le preguntaba a Clinton cómo estaba viviendo este momento previo a las elecciones. Como sabemos, el 3 de noviembre son las elecciones por nuevo presidente. Está enfrentado Trump, que es el actual presidente, contra Biden. Y cómo se estaba viviendo, que hace días, creo que ayer hubo un nuevo tiroteo, un nuevo acto de brutalidad policial. Asesinaron a un joven, padre de 3 niños. Y estaba la gente explotada. Esto fue en Pensilvania, si no me equivoco. Y él me cuenta que sí, que hace poco en Seattle era el epicentro del quilombo, pero ahora está pasando en otros lados. Pero que igual es un mismo país y que si te duele una pierna, te duele un brazo y te duele la cabeza al final. Y luego le preguntaba, y bueno, él dice que las problemáticas, como nos contaba, sigue. Hay una falta de liderazgo y están promoviendo la separación, ¿no? Segregación. Sí. Y le preguntaba qué tanto él veía la importancia de la social media, de las redes con tantos fake news, con tanto fake news y tanta falsa noticia. Y me dice que hay cosas buenas, nos podemos comunicar, nos podemos ver, pero hay tanta información negativa y mentirosa dando vuelta que está confundiendo a la gente y volviéndola como muy fanática y se está confrontando cada vez más. Entonces que es un momento de muy delicado, muy delicado.
Clinton, you were born in Jamaica and you moved to United States. Were you ever discriminated?
You mean like in Jamaica or in the U.S.?
In the U.S. or anywhere. You travel around the world doing music, so...
oh yeah. You know, it's a non-ending stuff, you know what I mean? From my absence, I know myself, you know, I've been feeling discrimination one way or another. You know, talking about injustices and things like that. Yeah, the system that just provide, you know, 3/4 of its thing is inequality and injustices. You know what I mean? Some people manage to squeeze through the track and through the cracks and come out at the other end. Majority of us don't get the chance to squeeze through those cracks and come through on the other end. You know what I mean? It's an ongoing thing.
Claro. Bueno, le preguntaba si alguna vez lo habían discriminado. Él nació en Jamaica, se fue a vivir a Estados Unidos. Me preguntaba si en alguno de esos dos lugares, y le dije en todo el mundo, y le dice que sí, que él dijo que sí, que nunca terminó, que siempre, que le pasa muy seguido. Maite, ayúdame porque no llego a entender todo, pero que es algo que nunca para de pasar, básicamente.
Yeah, one thing I'm grateful and really happy and grateful for is that, you know, I have fans and friends, you know, all over, you know, including where you're from there, Argentina, you know, Mexico, US, you know, Jamaica, Europe, Africa, you know, and that tells me that, you know what, there is still hope. You know what I mean? Because there are people with values and love in the true sense of the word. You know what I mean? And a respect for nature and things like that. Yes, we are few, but we are out there. You know, we are here. You know what I mean? And we just need not to give up the fight. You know, because I think that good will and shall overcome. You know what I mean? Goodness is, I term it as oil. You know what I mean? And you put it in the water bottle and it's gonna swim right back on top. You know.
Bien, bueno, seguíamos hablando sobre la discriminación. Dice que él cree que el bien a lo largo va a triunfar, que tiene muchos fans en todo el mundo y que agradece muchísimo su apoyo y demás. Perdimos a Mighty en el chat, se quedó duro, pero bueno. Clinton, you just launched Fix It, this new single. What are the next steps for you in your career?
You know, right now, as I speak here, a little after this, I'm going to the studio to do a demo. I have about 5 or 6 songs here that I wrote that I want to get out of my head. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
just kind of have them, you know, like demo style, so I can give them a break. So that's the first focus right now after we finish here.
We finish and you go there. You live near your studio?
Yeah, it's a little studio by one of my friends that's close by here.
Ok. Bueno, le pregunté con qué seguía su carrera y me dijo que terminamos esta entrevista y se va a grabar 5 canciones que le están quemando el bocho y que necesita grabarlas para sacárselas de su cabeza. And these 5 songs are going to be a new album or are just songs that you have to take out of your mind?
Which one? You're talking about the songs that I'm going to record?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just getting them out of my head for the time being. I don't know if they're gonna be an album or singles taken from it or EP. There's no organization there yet.
Okay. Yes, you are in the first steps. And the second step, you're already writing and you have to...
Yeah.
Bueno, dice que no sabe qué van a hacer porque está en los primeros pasos de esas canciones y demás. Well, going back in time, you have how much albums you recorded? You have like 30 albums or more?
It's something like that for myself. And then outside of those recording with the Gladiators, you know, I have like 12, 13 albums, something like that.
Did you, Clinton, did you ever record with your first music with the brothers? Did you ever record an album?
No. I got joined up with the Gladiators before we get anything going. We did some auditions here and there, but we didn't get through, you know.
And did you, any of the songs of that time, previous Gladiators with the brothers, did you ever record later with Defenders of the Boogie Brown?
No. One of them got recorded, and Jah Almighty. Jah Almighty used to rehearse with the brothers. I used to rehearse that one with the brothers, you know, which I end up recorded at Studio One with the Gladiators. I think that was actually my first personal recording, like my first song with the Gladiators, right.
Because you began as a harmony, vocal and bass.
Harmony, and then later on bass. And later on bass as well. But first it was just harmony.
Because your first instrument is singing, right? And then you pick up the guitar and the bass.
Right, so something like that.
Tell us a little of this first early years. How did you evolve? I guess that Kingston was really rough in the 70s. What do you remember of those struggling times in the music business?
Oh, I remember times, man, when I contemplate, not going forward with it, because it was so tough. I remember Errol Grandison, who introduced me to the Gladiators. He was a member of the Gladiators at the time. and it was two of them. And he told Albert about me, and then we met. He left the group later on because things were too tough, not making any money. It was just Albert and myself. But then Albert and myself, we continue until Gallimore Sutherland came along. In the mid-70s there, when things were rough, we already did some recordings and things like that, but things were still rough, and then the politics was so heavy. You know what I mean? Nothing happening. Everything is just politics. You know, you can't say hello to your friend across the street because, you know, over that side is Labour Right or PNP. You know what I mean? And somebody see you say hello to somebody over there. Somebody over here is going to say, oh, you're a Labour Right now, or you're a PNP now. You know what I mean? And you could lose your life, you know. It was rough, you know, almost gave it up. But I think I love music so much that, you know, I just couldn't. It helped to actually save me out of getting in trouble. Save me from getting in trouble.
Bien. Traduzcamos un poquito, Mighty. Tengo un montón de saludos también para
Because one of the things. Sí, dale. No, le preguntaba si su primer agrupación se llamó Los Brothers, los hermanos. Y le preguntaba si habían alcanzado a grabar algo, pero me dice que no, que fue inmediato que los Gladiators lo tomaron como miembro. Entonces que él empezó como vocalista, coro, después tocando el bajo. Y le preguntaba luego si alguna canción de esa era de los Brothers la había podido grabar, y me dice que sí, que Ya Almighty, esa canción después la grabó con Gladiator.
Sí.
Le preguntaba qué podía compartirme de esa época de los 70 en Jamaica. Sabemos que era un tiempo muy difícil política y socialmente, muy violento, y él me dice que sí, que era muy difícil mantener una banda porque había poco dinero y que mucha gente se rendía, y que además era muy peligroso porque tu vecino de al lado podía estar, vos lo saludabas, pero te veía el otro y decía, está saludando al del bando contrario, y podías perder tu vida. Entonces que era una cosa de mucha fe y de mucho coraje mantenerse en la música y salir adelante en los 70.
Bien, I have a lot of regards from all over the world. Mariano says, Big Clinton, Shah Rastafari, Ricardo dice, brethren, and I made it mine. Hope you like it when I release it. Thank you, Clinton, for all your music and love, dice Fede. Diego dice, my respect for Clinton. Tell him I admire him in big, and I love his work with the Gladiators, in special the album Trench Town Mix Up. Yes. Alejandra says, hi to Clinton. Please come to Argentina. We are waiting for you.
Yeah, we are waiting to come there too, man. I know that I have a lot of friends and fans there. You know, we've been trying for years to get there, but it's going to happen.
We are going to make it. Look there.
It's going to happen. Going to happen.
If you see there, we bring the Congos for the first time to Argentina.
The Congos, yeah.
So we are going to bring you. Also, Diego is asking when and why did you leave Jamaica and move to United States?
The long and short of it is music. In 1987, you know, it was my last tour with the Gladiators.
Sí.
And we at the end of the tour, and the tour ended in Florida. And we call a friend of ours from up here and let him know that we had excess time on our visas. So we would like to spend out some more time before going back and see if we can buy our ticket. You know, we can buy our ticket and come back if we want to. So we bought our ticket from Florida and come back to the Seattle a year. And we spent like 6-7 months, you know, and develop a quick following. And the intention was to go and come from Jamaica and, you know, have it like a little feeding tree. When we went back to Jamaica, the drummer died, and that kind of slowed things up a bit. So within 9 months or a year and something, we came back to Seattle, got a drummer here, got started again, you know. And Clinton Rufus went to Jamaica, and on his way back, they look at his passport and say, hey, you see where you're spending more time in the US than you spending in Jamaica, and put a big red X in his passport and sent him back to Jamaica. So I got scared then and said, you know what, I'm going to look after my papers before going back. And then it took me a longer time than I anticipated. You know, I thought it would take me like a year and a half. It took me like 4 years. Ooh. By then I grew roots, you know what I mean? And it was hard to root up and go back to Jamaica then. Oh. And the longer I stayed, is the longer the roots get. You know what I mean? And here I am still.
Bueno, le preguntaba Diego, uno de los PelaGatos, nos hacía preguntarle por qué se había ido a Jamaica y cuándo había sido. Clinton nos contó que fue en el 87, en la última gira de The Gladiators por Estados Unidos. Le quedaban unos días en la visa, entonces se quedaron y empezaron a vivir, se quedaron varios meses y después volvieron a Jamaica y después volvieron a Estados Unidos. Pero no entendí bien a quién, Mighty, cuando volvió.
Un baterista que estaba trabajando con él.
Claro, cuando quisieron volver, se dieron cuenta los de inmigración en Estados Unidos que ya estaba estando más tiempo en Estados Unidos que en Jamaica. Entonces le hicieron una cruz roja y grande en el pasaporte y no pudo volver nunca más. Y Clinton había entrado y decidió quedarse y tratar de tramitar sus papeles. Pensó que le iba a llevar un año y le llevó 4 años. Y ahí extendió sus raíces y ya le costó un montón agarrar toda su vida, su nueva vida en Estados Unidos y llevársela a Jamaica. Y bueno, y sigue ahí, en Seattle. Always in Seattle?
Yeah, Seattle is his home base, you know.
Okay, sí, siempre en Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle is home base, and then the other home base is France. Because that's where my wife is from.
Oh,
you know?
From France. Okay.
Right, so, you know, and so that basically I kind of have 3 homes.
Catherine is your wife.
There's Jamaica still, you know what I mean?
Thank you for Catherine for combining this interview.
Oh yeah, you heard that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, it's true.
So, Mighty, dispare.
Sí. Started staying in the US, you formed Defenders. What can you tell us from that first group you formed in the US?
Defenders. Defenders, again, you know, it wasn't just me alone formed Defenders, you know. We all kind of come together and form Defenders, you know. The one thing that I think was wrong with Defenders, it was great musicians, great musicianship and all that, but I term it as you look at it like a big strong lion coming down the road, but when you look, it doesn't have any head.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. So we were moving, but we're not going anywhere because, you know, there wasn't anyone leading, you know, right, you know, and I think because we were coming out of a situation that was too controlled, you know, and so we wanted freedom. And the way to feel free is to, we just work together and do the thing. But, you know, that was the wrong approach. Because then we really want to get something done and to something that needs some structuring and things like that. There was no one there that to call those shots and it be respected. You know what I mean? So things fell apart after a while. Everybody becomes self-centered and self-servient. You know what I mean? Right. So, you know, Defenders fell apart after 5 years.
And then you formed your Boogie Brown production and band.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Traduzcamos un poco, Mighty, así.
Sí. Okay. No, le preguntaba que su primer banda, cuando se queda en Seattle, Washington, se llamó Los Defenders. Y le preguntaba qué pasó, porque sacaron un disco en el 89 llamado Rock Your Bones. Y me dice que lamentablemente era un gran león, pero sin melena, como que no tenía liderazgo. Y cada uno quería tirar para su lado, y entonces se derrumbó el proyecto, que eran muy buenos músicos y muy buen contenido, pero no había liderazgo, no había un productor o alguien que tomara las decisiones.
Sí.
y entonces lamentablemente se desarmó. Y entonces el próximo paso fue, él montó the Boogie Brown Productions and Boogie Brown Band. I wanted to know what happened when you did Boogie Brown, how change evolved for you.
At the start of Boogie Brown, when I started Boogie Brown, you know, I didn't even have myself as like Clinton, Fearon, and Boogie Brown Band. It was Boogie Brown Band. And there was a lot of people who thought it was a funk band. They didn't even know it was a reggae band. You know, it take long. The road was long before one realized, oh, it's a reggae band. Oh, Clinton Fearon is in it. You know what I mean? It took a while, you know. And then with many suggestions, you know, I changed it from just Boogie Brown Band to Clinton Fearon and Boogie Brown Band. But it was a hard start. You know, the drummer at the time, you know, quit a day before we did the debut gig as Boogie Brown. You know, hundreds of people came to see the show, and we had was to ask the sound engineer, who was a kind of not jazz but a ska, you know, like a ska drummer, you know. So everything was speeded up. He was to look in on his phone for the timing, you know, and things like that. It was way that wasn't good at all. You know what I mean? So I had was to like start from the very scratch with Boogie Brown. You know, I was hoping that, you know, okay, we could take from Defenders and come along, similar to Defenders, kind of hedge off of Gladiators. You know, and quicker clock, we were able to have a good following. You know, with Boogie Brown, I had was to start from the very scratch because of what happened with the drummer, you know, and it's like, okay, all right. But I wasn't afraid of it. You know. I was humble enough to start from the scratch and get musicians who a lot of them was more so jazz musicians, knows not much about reggae music, but they were willing. You know, and so, you know, all I had was to do was be patient and taught what I could, and you know, and that process end me up where I am today. You know.
Okay. Le preguntaba entonces qué pasó después de que se deformó, se cayó el proyecto Defenders, que me dice que Defenders, proyecto que consiguió tener un cierto vuelo y continuidad después de Gladiators. Pero con Boogie Brown fue distinto. Boogie Brown comenzó y tomó un tiempo hasta que fuera Clinton, Fearon y Boogie Brown, y que además la gente no sabía que era una banda de reggae, pensaban que era algo de funk, y que el día previo al lanzamiento, al estreno de Boogie Brown, el baterista se fue, y el sonidista que venía del palo del ska se tuvo que subir, y entonces se aceleró mucho la música y no fue un gran comienzo, pero persistí con la humildad de volver a comenzar, de educar a los músicos que venían de otros palos musicales en cuanto a lo que era el reggae, y no lograron el mismo nivel de conocimiento, porque les tocó comenzar de cero básicamente, ¿no? Con Boogie Brown, pero que bueno, ha sido un cambio largo, y Boogie Brown, it's your production and it's always your band. Like Boogie Brown is your right?
Boogie Brown. Yeah, actually, Boogie Brown is you know, Boogie Brown is a brainchild. You know what I mean by that?
Es una marca.
Yeah. Boogie Brown is a brainchild. You know, Boogie Brown is like a 13-year-old that behaves as if he's 30.
Okay.
You know, because he grew up rough and things like that.
Como un niño de 3 años. Okay, I get it. Okay.
So, you know, the band is Boogie Brown Band, you know.
It's behaving.
There's a little sense of humor there. There's a little humor in it there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right.
Clinton, afterwards, the Boogie Brown Band, you start like Clinton Fearon alone. What happened? What you do that?
Say that again.
After the Boogie Brown Band, you start as Clinton Fearon single.
No. It's not that I start as Clinton Fearon single. It's Clinton Fearon and Boogie Brown Band.
Okay.
Well, it's like, okay, like with Gladiators, for example.
Yes.
It was a group, self-contained, and just Gladiators. Later on, it changed to Albert Griffiths and the Gladiators.
Okay.
The same thing happened with
Okay,
Wailers.
yes. Perfect.
The same thing happened with Wailers. Okay. What I learned is that here, it's very hard to have a group just be a group and everybody get put in. I used to that vibe from Jamaica where, okay, all right, we do something, okay, we all put hands on heart and make it work, and we go through the struggle and things like that and so forth. No matter what's going on, we're going through the struggle. We want to see this to the end of the rope, Here we have too many options, and people can't take the struggle and the suffering enough. They go and do something else, So after I learned that over quite a few years, I used to quarrel quite a bit, even with musicians. Man, that's not how the way we do it. We need to really to stop the thing out. When we decide to do it, we stick it out and do it, You don't come 2 weeks later and say, well, then, hey, by the way, I have a little job around the corner here, I can't come to rehearsal, or I can't do this, or I can't do that tour, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
So more and more you learn that, I learned from a long time that the only person can leave is me. That's the only person cannot leave the group is me.
Okay.
So more and more start to pay more attention to what I do and hope that others will be there to fall in when I need them.
Okay. Bueno, yo le preguntaba erróneamente después de Boogie Brown Band por qué se había lanzado solista, pero lo que contaba es que lo que pasó fue que cuando en Jamaica, él venía de Jamaica con un estilo de armar que todos forman una banda y que van para adelante y que le meten huevo entre todos, pero en Estados Unidos no es lo mismo y tenían otros laburos, o a esta gira no podían ir, o a esta gira podían ir, y entonces se dio cuenta de que tenía que ser Clinton Fearon and the Boogie Brown Band, y los músicos van variando según lo que va pasando, ¿no? Mighty, ¿digo bien?
Sí, lo que él explica también es como la falta de compromiso de muchos músicos, y él quería que sea una unidad compacta, como los grandes grupos de la era de los 70, ¿viste? Bien compacto, pero él se dio cuenta que, Albert Griffith, Bob Marley and the Wailers, es Clinton Fearon and the Boogie Brown Band. Él se puso adelante a liderar porque él es el que tiene el compromiso y la disciplina, ¿no? Pero no desarmó, digamos, el concepto de banda. Es él y la banda.
Perfecto. Clinton...
In another way, again, I feel grateful that I had embarked on that journey by doing some stuff by myself, like the acoustic album, for example, and other things,
I love it.
Oh, thank you. And then today, like with the pandemic and things like that, where groups can get together accordingly and so forth. It was good that I was doing those exercises.
Yes.
Because then, now I'm doing Talk with a Friend every other Wednesday, and every other Sunday I'm doing a Sunday with Clinton Fearon.
Yes, I saw it in Facebook Live.
Okay, right, and those help to keep us going on a daily, weekly basis. You know what I mean, and still be connected. If it was just Boogie Brown Band, while everybody is split and they're all about by themselves and no one want to come together because, the fear of, and rightfully so, the fear of COVID and so forth. I wouldn't be able to do this because nobody would know who I am. They would only know Boogie Brown.
Claro. Bueno, ahí...
So it's a good thing I was doing that. Nobody is coming up till now.
Dice que estuvo bien en hacer eso de ser el líder, ser la cabeza de la banda y la cara bonita también, porque, por ejemplo, con esta pandemia él no podría estar haciendo todo lo que está haciendo, no podría haber hecho el disco acústico, que se los recomiendo, fue el último disco, no el anterior, es excelente, y que no podría estar haciendo todo lo que está haciendo, que los miércoles hace charlas en vivo con amigos, y los domingos, que es muy interesante, y les digo a todos los domingos en su Facebook hace un live, toca en vivo, canta en vivo, y a veces hay invitados y demás, y está buenísimo, así que se los recomiendo.
Sí. Going back, I wanted to know the song Chatty Chatty Mouth, because we always talk to people who lived that era and say that they were never treated respectfully in the copyright sense, right? With pay, like royalties.
Yeah.
Did you have any Chatty Chatty Mouth is dedicated to some producer back into Jamaica, or is it a general situation you was describing?
Well, it was a politician in Jamaica at the time. Because the Jamaica was infested with that kind of vibe, with the political vibe. And so it chatty mouth was like, pointed to the politicians in Jamaica. But, it's more so who the cap fit, where is it? You know what I mean? Not just Jamaica, but across the globe, politicians on a whole, who do not care about the people. It's that, and I think that's one of the reasons because why it kind of hit worldwide too, because people can relate.
Yes.
Like I'm quite sure in Argentina can relate, Brazil can relate. You know what I mean? Certain parts of Africa, if not all of it, can relate.
Yes, it's all over the world. This problem is so big that I think every country is thinking that this my country is the most corrupt of the world, but all the countries have a lot of problems. And ojalá que I hope so someday will change, but
I
don't think
it's a hope. We can't. It's hard to survive without having any hope.
We have to have hope. Yes.
Bueno,
we have to have hope.
Mighty le preguntaba por Chatty Mouth, un clásico total, y le preguntaba, contale vos, Mighty, así.
Sí, yo le quería saber porque yo tenía la impresión de que era una canción dedicada a algún productor por el tema que siempre hablamos de que no les pagaban y todo. Sí. Y me dice que no, que era más dedicada a los políticos y a los políticos en general, no solamente en Jamaica. Una cosa, como nos decía Sigue, ¿no? Global. ¿Nos animamos a preguntarle a ver si nos toca algún clásico, Marcos?
No, ya quedé que no, que se va a guardar porque va a ser parte del festival. ¿Sí?
Bueno.
Clinton, we are honored that you are going to be part of our festival online. ¿Cómo se llama?
Yes.
So we are.
Yeah, the festival summers PelaGatos.
Yes. Esa risa me encanta, me conquistó, lo tengo en el corazón.
Why we make it so confusing? Why?
What does somos PelaGatos mean?
We are PelaGatos. We are. Somos is we are. Is we are.
Oh,
we are.
Okay.
PelaGatos is someone that lives outside of the society. It's like more or less like an insult or something like that. Like, you are a PelaGatos.
No, but it's being used like Clinton. PelaGatos is also, it's being used like someone who is with no money, yes. You're just a PelaGatos. Like you have no money and you're struggling, trying to make it.
Okay.
You want to be respected,
Right. And you know what? And I don't know if it's the same situation in Argentina too, but for a long time, even from Jamaica, just observing the political situation on how both sides are corrupt, I didn't vote. I did not vote,
Are you going to vote?
Since I come to the US, I vote twice.
Okay.
This time and the time before.
Okay.
Because I realized that, you know what, even though both sides, it's probably not what we're really looking for. You know, if you don't do something, nothing happen. You know, and the guy that you would vote for, you know, like they said, the right person for the job do not want it. That's a saying we have in Jamaica, that the right person for the job don't want it. Because of the politics, you know. But if we sit back and say, well, then hey, you know, I'm not gonna vote, I'm not gonna get involved, then them guys just get to continue and do what they do. So the way to pare it down, I think, and eventually get to somewhere close to where we want it, is to vote still.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and it doesn't mean that, you know, you are with the system. You use the system to fix the system, in other words.
Okay. Yes, bueno, ahí nos contaba de que desde que vive en Estados Unidos, que desde el año 87 votó solo 2 veces, y fueron esta vez y la anterior, me imagino que en contra de Trump, me imagino, pero bueno, it's incredible for us here in Argentina. It's obligatory to vote. You have to go to vote.
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory voting here.
Oh, you have to.
You have to.
We have to. It's mandatory.
Okay.
You can't choose. You have to do it.
Okay.
You have to participate.
Battery.
Se apagó la cámara, Ahí ya va a volver Clinton, que tiene una sonrisa encantadora, Ahí lo tenemos. Here you are. So it's hard to us. It's hard to me understand that in United States it's not mandatory. And we talked recently with Stevie Marley, and he was also saying that it was the first time he voted. And you tell us that is the second time. In Jamaica, it's mandatory, and it's difficult to understand.
You're supposed to, but it is not driven down as a rule that you must.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because there's the freedom of choice, freedom of speech, freedom of choice. There is that. But then, you know, them guys just use that to their advantage. That's why they don't put out, you know, like, because I think that, you know, if you're voting, like here, for example, if you're voting and, you know, where everybody is to vote, then one side would probably lose all the time, because the majority, you know, would vote for a social vibe. You know what I mean? Let everybody get medicine. You know, let everybody be taken care of. You know, that's what the masses, you know, the most people are saying. The other people with the money, they say, oh man, go work and get your money. I'm not gonna take care of you. You know what I mean? Hey, I can buy my medicine. I don't care about you. You know, and that's the struggle is going on. You know what I mean? And they have a thing with them called the electoral vote, where that's the way I think. Like, I know I still don't understand it yet. You know, I still don't understand how you know 75, you know 45% can beat 65%. You know what I mean? How 45% are gonna beat 55%, or 40% are gonna beat 60%. You know, it doesn't make sense. You know, if you get 60% of the vote, then you should win.
Yes.
Because they divide in political ideology, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Because they have the popular vote, what they call popular vote, and then they call the college vote. You know what I mean? and so that create confusion right off the bat. You know. Within that confusion, you have checkpoints there where some people can go vote and some people can't go. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden your vote don't count. And then from different counties you have, you know, how it is controlled. You know, hey, you vote from early, vote cut off today, so your vote don't get to count. You know, while some others, you know, stretch for 3-5 days after the vote is finished. You know what I mean? So different rules. You know, I think it should be across the board.
It should be united the same way methodology for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
I agree.
Claro. And I think, what do you think of the importance of reggae music? Because reggae music is like the newspaper for the people, like the voice of the voiceless. What if reggae music could rule, you know, like the system? It could be a more equal, an equal rights for all, you know, like your works in music and what the things you and many reggae artists have been saying for years. Imagine if the government would take notice of it, you know, make a change, a real change.
You know, then you find that, you know, a lot of cats with too much money probably wouldn't have too much money, and that's where the problem comes in, you know. And, you know, there are people that love to be able to say, I'm better than you.
Yes.
You know, and from the moment they're not in a position to say, I'm better than you, or to show like they're better than you, they are not comfortable. And those people will try to hold that power for long time. King and queens from long time is the same vibe too. You know what I mean? This is coming from long time. You know, it just kind of break down into counties and areas and things like that. But it's like if a king was ruling America or a king was ruling Argentina. You know what I mean? And that king have it, his or her word, you know, boom, you know, and that stands, you know. And that king don't even walk on the ground. Somebody carry him around. You know what I mean? Exactly. Power, you know, see, I'm powerful. You can't get somebody to do that. I get people to carry me around for free. You know, that kind of vibe. You know, it's not dead, it's alive. It's the shift.
Mighty, traduzcamos un poquito que se va a poner complicado.
Sí, no, le estaba preguntando sobre el tema del voto y entonces me dice que está bueno votar porque, bueno, hay que meterse en el sistema para intentar cambiarlo. Pero él dice que todavía encuentra muchas irregularidades, por ejemplo, cómo puede ser que a veces en algunas leyes el mayor porcentaje no gane, porque dice que, claro, porque hay, dentro de la misma idea está dividido en partidos, entonces pierde poder. Entonces que el mismo sistema es una trampa. Entonces que hay muchas cosas que tienen que cambiar, justamente lo que estaba diciendo ahora, que es como si fuera todavía una monarquía, pero disfrazada de democracias o separada en países. Porque yo le preguntaba qué bueno sería que el reggae, que ha sido siempre el periódico de la gente, la voz del sin voz, pudiera tener un partido, y me dice que sí, que igual habría mucho quilombo porque no faltaría el que dijera yo soy más poderoso que vos, o yo tengo más tiempo que vos, o yo tengo la mejor canción, ¿o entendés?
Claro.
Que inevitablemente el hombre siempre está peleando por poder, o a ver, vamos a decirlo como lo decimos nosotros, a ver quién la tiene más larga, ¿no?
Claro, sí. Changing the theme, here when we announce the interview with you in our Instagram, Michael Rose sent you a message and it was saying, big up my brother, more music blessings.
Yeah. Michael, much love, man. You know what I mean? You know, you've been doing the thing for a long time too as well. You know what I mean? And each one of us do a little part, you know what I mean? And hopefully, unity, justice, equality, you know, and eventually peace of mind will hit the world, you know, and that will be the big hit, you know. So continue doing the work, my brother.
Bien, bueno, le contaba que en el post de Instagram que pusimos un videito de él anunciando que hacíamos la nota, le comentó Michael Rose, ¿no? El cantante de Black Uhuru. No sé si alguien necesita más presentación que decir Michael Rose, Black Uhuru. Bueno, y Clinton le mandaba saludos también y dice que siga haciendo ese trabajo que lo está haciendo tan bien y que es muy importante para la música.
Clinton, we're coming to the end now. What kind of message or advice can you give young musicians or young people in general that you've been around for a long time in the music business? What kind of advice can you share with us?
Man, you know, whether you're a musician or just a painter or whatever you do, you know, make sure you love it and then go for it. No matter what, go for it. Because I think that peace of mind start there. You know what I mean? I have a little thing where I call you do what you love and love what you do. You know what I mean? Love what you do and do what you love. You know what I mean? Because when you do that, you feel a sense of purpose. You know what I mean? And when you can feel a sense of purpose, it's harder for somebody to just use you and refuse you like to their liking. You know what I mean? And you can wake up in the morning and feel good about yourself, and don't be afraid to love yourself, because when you do so, it's easier to love the person that is sitting or standing beside you. You know what I mean? There are these like simple rules, you know, and it's like rules and no rules. You know what I mean? In the same breath, you know. And that's the kind of vibe that, you know, that take me to this point, you know, where, you know, I've been loving the thing from a long time, and I don't watch nothing, and I see myself, and never see yourself at 100%. That's the other thing. Do not see it, not how great one say you are, or no, work in progress at all times. That will keep you humble and keep on growing, and you will learn more and more as we go along. You know, that's my motto. That's what I'm saying.
Bueno, le preguntaba qué consejo le podría dar a los jóvenes artistas, músicos, de alguien que tiene tanto recorrido y tanta experiencia. Y me dice, miren, amen, seas pintor, y ayer lo escuchaba decir a Guille lo mismo, amen lo que hacen, ámenlo, con pasión, comprométanse, porque cuando lo hagan así, van a encontrar su sentido de propósito. Y eso los va a hacer felices. Ámense, que eso les va a permitir amar al otro. No dejen que nadie les diga lo contrario. Hagan lo que aman sin importar nada más. Y además que nunca piensen que han llegado a su 100%. Traten siempre de esforzarse y dar su mejor, porque eso los va a mantener también humildes en el camino. Beautiful, Clinton. Beautiful words for the message.
Do what you love and love what you do. Nos dice Beth ahí en un mensaje. Clinton, and going back in time, in the time you live in Kingston, in Jamaica, and you work with Coxsone Dodd, Lee Perry, Joe Hicks, what do you think about all your path in the music from there to this interview in the present? Do you imagine all what happened to you? What can you tell us about?
Man, you know, ever so often I get goosebumps, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You know, because it's like, oh, it's a new thing happen. Oh, I'm always excited, like for talking to you and you the way in Argentina there, you know what I mean? And you tell, you know, and you informing me that, you know, friends and fun are checking in, and those things give me goosebumps, you know. I'm from the hills in Jamaica, man, way in the country.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where trees were my friends. You know, I observe the ants, I observe birds fly down eating peyote squash. You know, the blossom right at my feet. You know what I mean? Wow. You know, observing nature from close. You know, dreaming to go to Kingston so I could portray music. You know what I mean? Didn't know. You know, Joseph Phil and myself. You know, we went to a little elementary school called Point Hill School in St. Catherine, and we actually planned was to run away to Kingston. You know, so we could portray music. You know what I mean? but we didn't do it because we didn't know where to run to, or where to run.
Bueno,
you know, so it's a long journey, and I'm so honored and feeling blessed, you know, with all the help I got along the way, you know, man, still getting help, you know, I'm again feeling blessed, you know. I have a wonderful partner, my wife, who's just stick right beside me, doing thick and thin, you know what I mean? Without her, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now, at least the same way, you know what I mean? She's doing an incredible job, you know, and I'm trying to keep up.
Bueno, Le preguntaba, volviendo en el tiempo, desde que arrancó a grabar con Coxsone Dodd, Lee Perry, Joe Hicks, que son, bueno, épicos monstruos del reggae, hasta ahora, hasta esta entrevista, cómo había sentido todo ese camino, y decía que siempre lo vivió con alegría, siempre se está sorprendiendo de cosas que le están pasando, hasta en esta entrevista.
Nos contó que iba al colegio con Joe Hicks.
No la capté. Que se querían...
Que su sueño era escaparse a Kingston.
Claro, o sea, hacerse la rata, básicamente, ¿no? Ratearse a Kingston a grabar, pero no sabían a dónde ir, entonces no se rateaban.
Claro, pero
you call a name that Joe Higgs. You know, when I just moved to Kingston, like a couple of years later, something like that, if that long, Joe Higgs used to live, just few houses down from where I was living.
Eran vecinos,
yeah, and I think it was Albert who pointed out to me that that's Joe Higgs, and then that time I don't even know who Higgs was, and then I learned Higgs and Wilson. I was like, oh, and then I think he had a girlfriend at the time that they did some songs together, a song together. And then they end up some kids together. They were living just down the road from me,
claro. Bueno, ahí...
And I remember when he did this song, what is called? He did it acoustically,
There's a reward for me.
Yes. When he did that, he got my total respect. It's like, yes, there it is, And then I learned how much he was involved in wailers and harmonies and things like that, guiding that part of it and so forth. Later on, he and I met up actually in Seattle here, and reminisce a little bit. He did have a girlfriend up here somewhere, Anyway, we reminisce a little bit about the past and things like that and so forth, Did a little bit of harmony, and it was really sweet, singing something together a little bit. Something was going on. A song was playing, and we kind of harmonized a little bit. It was sweet for a moment, Then a few years later, he passed off, But he was a talented brother, man.
Ok, bueno, le preguntábamos por Joe Hicks, dice que era vecino en Jamaica, que vivía a un par de cuadras, que él era también vecino de la novia, que después tuvieron unos hijos. Y que se ganó su respeto cuando hizo, ¿qué canción, Mighty?
There's a reward for me, quiere decir, hay una recompensa para mí, que salió en un documental francés, justamente él tocando el acústico,
claro,
que es el hitazo de su disco Life of a Contradiction álbum de Joe Hicks, y que se encontraron luego en Seattle, porque
claro.
Joe Hicks estuvo viviendo en California muchos años, y que escuchando la radio hicieron alguna armonía. You never record together with Joe? Never did something together?
Never.
What a pity.
I know what you mean. We could do something good together. There's one more person that I think if we could record something together, it would be really magical too. And it's Bonnie Whaler.
Yes.
Bonnie Whaler.
It's Bonnie Whaler. Is sensitivity to harmony. The sensitivity to harmony. I think that we could do something wonderful. But I'm too shy to check him.
No, come on.
You know.
No, you think it's joke. It's not joke.
I don't know if you knew, but he suffered a stroke 2 months ago. He's not doing really. What I heard is that he's not doing really well, but we are getting in touch with his son, Asanaki. Soon we're gonna be talking to his son, who is following up after the Wailers' legacy.
Right. Actually, I met his son in New Caledonia.
Wow.
In New Caledonia, because Bonnie did something over there too. The same time we did something over there, for a festival there, and I met his son, and we just rapped for a short minute, Actually, Bonnie introduced me to him as his son, you know, and so forth. That's about it. I don't know much about, you know what I mean, what's going on there and things like that. Clinton. I do hope that him come to unscathed though, you know.
Clinton, and we can read about your history, and it says that you worked for Yabi U and for Lee Perry. Do you remember what songs did you participate, playing bass or singing? Can you tell us something about that time or what they say about those?
Well, with Yabi U, I used to like practice Yabi U with my acoustic guitar and him sing, and I kind of guide him and staying on track, staying on the timing and thing like that, and just helped, you know. And then when we go to Vengeance, Vengeance was one of his big hit back then that we did over on Scratch. Scratch. Right. And some other ones, I can't remember them right now, on that particular session. And that session is when Scratch saw us play and like, oh, boy, I'm like to get some rhythm from us, you know. And we went back as Gladiators and did a session for him, for Scratch. You know, and Scratch and Albert didn't get on too well, so it no more of that didn't happen. But Scratch asked me to come back and do some things for him. And I end up playing over there for like 6 to 7 months, almost every day, you know, playing for different artists with different musicians. And that was like a college for me, you know.
Imagine.
That was like a college, you know, playing with different musicians, you know. Because with Gladiators, it's just us, you know. And yes, and we would work on the song that different artists come with and things like that. This is working with a different keyboard player, a different guitars, different drummer, you know what I mean? But here I am, you know what I mean, playing with everybody and getting a feel of what's going on and things, you know. And I learned also how much important feeling is to reggae music, you know, the feel, you know, and you have to be very inclusive and adjustable, you know what I mean, you know when to adjust, how to adjust, to, you know, don't overdo it, but do as much, you know, all these little things are so important with percussion, guitar, vocal, the whole thing, you know, to manage that, you know, it's a thing.
Claro, le preguntaba que se acordaba de, porque uno lee y ve que grabó con Yabi U, en la época con Lee Perry, y dice que con Yabi U él lo entrenó en la guitarra y que grabaron una canción, o le inspiró a grabar una canción llamada Ja Vengeance, que es la venganza de Ja, y que después fue al estudio de Lee Perry, Black Ark, con los Gladiators, pero que Albert Griffith no se llevó muy bien con Scratch, tuvieron como algunas diferencias, entonces como que esa no progresó, pero tuvieron una sesión Gladiators con Lee Perry. Pero después él, Clinton, sí hizo como 6-7 meses de sesiones grabando para Lee Perry en Black Ark, para muchos músicos, y que fue como una universidad para él, porque ahí aprendió a tocar con distintos pianistas, percusionistas, bateristas, guitarristas, y que adquirió mucho lo que es el sentido, que para él es muy importante el sentir en el reggae, que es como saber incluir, esperar, entender cada instrumento, que el feeling es like something very important. You were playing bass at that time or guitar too?
Bass, I would do a little bit of guitar here and there, but mostly bass. You know, I remember talking about that, you know, you remember Augustus Pablo?
Yes.
Augustus Pablo, well, one of Augustus Pablo biggest album, I play most of the bass line on that album. You know,
which one?
But my name is, but I'm not mentioned. Same way like on Scratch, you know, what it's called, roast fish and cornbread. You know, that one, you know, roast fish and cornbread is actually what we call a broader. After we did the session, we play like 7 rhythms. Mm-hmm. You know, the day, and say, oh, why not? Oh, give me an extra one, man. So we play that one for free.
roast fish and cornbread.
Roast fish and cornbread, the rhythm, just basically just a one chord thing, you know.
And you were never credited for it.
Never credited. All them songs I play for him over there, I never get credited for it. But it's not me alone, you know. Many you know, and one bass player, Boris Gardner. Boris Gardner, I credit Boris Gardner. And I think Boris Gardner probably sit him down and say, hey man, even if you don't pay me, you know, credit me. You know, I want my credit, you know.
Yes.
I wasn't sensible enough back then to say, well, hey, credit me, you know, I want my credit. You know what I mean? I just want to play music, you know what I mean?
but it's important, right? It's important to know.
Very important, man.
Bueno, hay un montón de saludos. We have a lot of regards here. Le Home Noir, my last concert was yours in France, in the town named Acheresville. Never forgot it. I got videos and good memories of it. Bless up. This from from France. Hello, Clinton Fearon, Brasileira. Edeline from Brazil also sending regards. Beth Kelly, please tell Clinton and Catherine that we love them and support the positive vibes and more love the world needs.
Blessings. Many thanks.
There are a lot of regards. Sundays are for Clinton. Here, rich man, poor man, God bless. Steven says that. And I have a lot of questions about, do you listen reggae, Argentine reggae? You know some bands of here from Argentina?
Yeah. I can't remember the name. There's some you that you remember what the lady and the lady was their manager. What that group name again?
Oh yeah. Mimi Maura?
I can't remember good musicians, and I can't remember the name, you know. I saw them play at Rotterdam.
At Rotterdam.
Yeah.
En Rotterdam estuvo Alika.
I think that's the I don't remember, but I remember that a group there that was very good.
Was it a woman singing?
No. She was the woman I'm talking about. She was the manager for this group.
Ale Chelasco.
Yes. But managed a lot of group. But there was a group there that played was very good.
2015, 2015, the Dobbies.
Yes.
The Dobbies. They were the winning act from Rosario, Argentina.
They have a great show. Incredible.
Yes.
With the percussionist at the front.
Pero también estuvieron estos chicos de Zona Sur. Bueno. Charlie Sa. ¿Cómo se llama esta banda?
No,
se me escapó a mí.
Mataste.
Well, there was another band traveling to se fue.
Leave it there. Bueno, ahí vi a los Doobies allá. Clinton, it was a great honor and pleasure talking to you. You have a beautiful smile and you are it's like lovely talking to you.
Oh, thanks, man. It's the same here, man. Same here. And we can't wait to get there someday, sometime, somehow. It's going to happen.
We are going to make it.
Yes. All right. And big love to my fans and friends over there, too. And take care and we'll talk again.
Yes, I have one favor more. Can you present yourself and say, I'm here in PelaGatos? Send regards to PelaGatos, our show.
Chatty mouth. You want to know your culture. Chatty mouth. Be wise and know your culture. Yes, Clinton Fearon here. Yes. With PelaGatos.
Yeah.
With the PelaGatos crew. Clinton Fearon here with the PelaGatos crew.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Clinton.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
we stay in touch.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch. We'll stay in touch. You know.
Thank you, Catherine too.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
See you soon.